Joining us now, Senator Eric Schmitt of Missouri has been watching this all very closely. He filed a bill this week to protect ICE by doubling the penalty of anyone caught assaulting an ICE agent. He joins me now. Now, Senator, you see these individuals, some of them former elected officials, some of them current members of Congress, and they're encouraging this or inciting this by using the terms Gestapo, or in some cases, sitting in front of a vehicle to prevent, in a very dangerous situation, ICE officers and detainees from leaving the premises. What should be done?
Well, they need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Those penalties should probably be expanded, like in my legislation, but you need law enforcement to actually prosecute these people. And I think, Laura, what this is it's a very dangerous game they're playing. They lost this issue at the ballot box. They're losing now in the courts because President Trump's able to do what he said he was going to do, which is deportation. And all they have left now, which is the Marxist playbook, is political violence. And that needs to be confronted swiftly and severely through prosecutions. And that's the only thing that's going to matter is you throw these folks behind bars 20, 40 years, and you send a loud message, because that's what the statute allows.
Now, when you have congressmen doxing ICE agents, like the congressman from California, Carbajal, what should happen then?
Well, so here's what's interesting about this masking issue. These are the same people that wanted to mask our 5-year-olds when they went to school all day long, right? But they don't think ICE agents should be able to protect themselves with masks.
But the man was injured after that.
All of this is about is they want the identities of these people, so harass or injure them and their families.
He was injured.
Absolutely.
The ICE officer was injured, and I would argue as a result of that card being shown to the mob.
Yeah, and I think that they've lost on this issue. I can't actually believe, Laura, as we talk about this, that this is the hill that they're going to die on this illegal immigration. And what you won't hear any Democrats say, they may condemn some violence, but you'll never hear any of them say, you know, we need to step back and let the ICE agents do their jobs, because they don't believe that. They believe in open borders, and they don't think anybody who's here illegally should actually be sent home.
Now, as you mentioned, several of your Democrat colleagues believe in unmasking ICE agents, but Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon is one-upping that. Yesterday, he introduced legislation that would require immigration enforcement officers to display clearly legible ID, including their agency name or initials and either their name or badge number, in a manner that remains visible and unobscured by tactical gear or clothing. Of course, meanwhile, the DHS agents say that Antifa is doxing them, harassing them in their homes in the state's most populous city of Oregon, Portland in Oregon. It's a real problem.
Yeah, look, all they have to display is that they're with the police or ICE. That's what the law requires. This is just dangerous. And you can see through what this really is. They want their identities revealed so they can intimidate, harass, and injure. And what's really happening is they haven't come to the conclusion, this isn't going to stop. This president, President Trump, Holman, everybody at DHS, they're fully committed to meeting mass migration, which what we saw with mass deportations. $800 million a year is what was funneling through these NGOs, which were, by the way, in this rescissions package we're voting on this week. We want to defund that. Your taxpayer dollars, the guy who's swinging the hammer, who's driving the truck, was sending money to Washington. It was going to these NGOs to fuel mass migration. Now they object to them being sent home. No way. It needs to be met, again, swiftly.
But Matt, in cases where rocks or projectiles are thrown at officers, at vehicles, President Trump came out late last week, and just reiterated what, this is, the ICE agents got to get out of the car and start throwing down with these guys and arresting them on site, because they're just with impunity.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kill people with a rock or a brick going through a windshield.
And that's why the National Guard was sent in, in Los Angeles initially, right? Is you had ICE agents being assaulted in that way, where they weren't even safe on the streets. And so,
well, they don't want anyone to sign up to work for ICE. That's really what's going on. They want to make it so toxic and so dangerous that young people say, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting my faith. Isn't that part of what's going on?
I think it is, and it's what they were doing with, in 2020, they were trying to discourage people with police. Now it's ICE agents, right? And the good news is we front-loaded a lot of this money for more ICE agents, more detention beds, more deportations in that big, beautiful bill. So good luck, but I think we're going to win this one.
$9 billion? Are you still attacking Big Bird, or we're going to?
Yeah, we're going to.
I love that Big Bird. If they say Big Bird, I've never liked Big Bird.
Elmo, Elmo's cute. But we don't have
been...
taxpayer money going to NPR and PBS anymore. That we're going to lock that down. And
is that going to get done?
Yeah, that's what we're working on.
I heard Big Bird is going to be doing a sit-in at your office, like
I don't know if Big Bird's taller than me though. Big Bird
actually,
can't intimidate
good point.
me.
Well, that
So-
wasn't your nickname, was it? in
No.
school? All right.
No,
They're
no, let's
telling
not
me
start that,
They're
Laura.
telling me I've got to go and get myself in trouble. Senator, great to see you. Thank
Good
you
to
as
be with you.
always.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.